Hello, and welcome back to the Rose Garden. Today I'm going to talk about being a nerd. I have been a nerd for as long as I can remember. I was a nerd before I even knew what a nerd was. As a child, I was not allowed to have non-educational toys. My father wanted me to be the best and the brightest, so I grew up with encyclopedias and mountains of books, and the only toy video game kind of thing I had was a Teachin' Teddy, which was a system you plugged into either your VCR or your TV. Pretty sure it's the VCR. Came with like a little console with buttons for multiple choice questions you had to ask, because it was an educational clip with quiz at the end. Eventually I ended up with the gray brick Game Boy. That was a hand-me-down from my aunt. It did not have the case to the battery pack on the back. It was just tape and cotton keeping it together. My friend and neighbor across the street, we will name friend A, had a bunch of stuff that I eventually learned how to play, like Mario, Duck Hunt, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Earthworm Jim. She had a couple other ones that I can't remember too well. My neighbor next door to me was an older woman who did not have kids, and her husband was often away because of the military, so I would spend time with her, and I learned how to play Tomb Raider and Spyro with her. For a short time in high school, I had a Sega, the one that plays discs, but I did not get to keep that long. It was borrowed and not returned. And that was kind of my experience with video games. It wasn't very broad, but I was pretty well read. I was always reading a book. I was in band and choir. I loved watching Star Trek and Babylon 5 and Red Dwarf and a little bit of Doctor Who. I watched late night Disney, so I watched Zorro color and black and white. I would watch the Mickey Mouse Club. What else did I do? I watched Star Wars every Christmas. I was the only one in my class, I think we were juniors or seniors, who knew what an Ewok was, or that Gumby's friend horse was named Pokey. So, yeah. I didn't really get into too much more than that until I met my husband. He introduced me to Red vs. Blue, which then introduced me to Halo, which I really didn't even start playing that too much until, what was it, The Guild? The Felicia Day series. And that was kind of my gateway into going, gaming could be fun. I had tried playing World of Warcraft once or twice, and I hadn't gotten into it at that time. And my husband played EverQuest 2, which I really enjoyed that game, so I became an EverQuester. And so I played Halo with him, and then one day he was playing the Dragon Age series. So he played Dragon Age 1, and he had gotten Dragon Age 2, and he was playing, and he had paused it because he had to go do something. So I picked it up, and I'm like, I'll just dink around, and I figured out how to do things, and eventually we started me my own campaign, and now I'm better at it than he is, which is fun for me. And so I play Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition. I do not play the first one because I love the story, but the gameplay is so slow to me and I cannot deal with it. But he can, so I watch the first one for the story and I play the second two and he watches. I do play some other things. I've played Hydro Thunder, what was it, Turbo? We play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now. I've played Mario Parties. I don't remember how many. 8 is probably my favorite, I think. I do miss being able to play some games like Spyro, but they're not the end all to me, and I am not My husband has a thing rigged up in that room behind me where he can play a whole bunch of old games. He has the NES Classic and all that stuff. But, yeah. So like this, Fallout. I do not play Fallout, but I love watching my husband play Fallout, and I am his navigator. And with Fallout 4, I can have the Pip-Boy on my phone, so I can help him while he's playing, so that is fun. Or the Legend of Zelda series. I do not personally play it, but I help him. I'm the navigator. Or even for Breath of the Wild now, I've learned how to play. So if he wants to go to the bathroom or make snacks, I can keep playing for him. I'm not that great at combat, but I'm not too bad. I can kill choo-choos and keys. Not a problem. The white enemies, Lizalfos, Moblins, Bokoblins, yeah, I can't deal with that. they're too much for me. Yeah. I do still read a lot. I have my bookcases of manga, I have novels. I'm getting into my comics now because I'm out of mangas to read, and that is terribly sad. I have my animes that I love that my husband got me into. I still watch some movies and some TV series, just not as much as I used to. But yeah, that's my nerdy side. It's not... I have a lot of passions. Some of them go deep, but most of them I like to pick and choose from little things. Like, I love both Star Wars and Star Trek. I love Lord of the Rings. I love my mangas. I love everything. There are very few things I don't love. But yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And I hope you have a good day. Bye!